To address some of the rates, I think we've made a lot of efforts just in acknowledging the fact that they are increasing in our own community, and definitely trying to make more prevention efforts like AHF in the meantime. I think to really address it, we have to meet people where they are and not just so focus on their sexual activity, but maybe it's job, maybe it's lack of education, maybe there are other pieces. Ooh, I'm like, I love that everyone's paying attention. So I'm so listening. I'm trying to be serious. Really trying to meet them where they are and addressing these like different demographic issues that may not be seen on the surface. I think something that's really, really common, and I've noticed as I've gotten older and worked in different fields, is that the mental health issues that we face in our community that really aren't being addressed. And that's usually because a lot of our parents are IV drug users or maybe heroin or whatever, but there are certain things that we haven't faced as a community, and no one's going to face it for us, so they keep rising. We keep having random sex with different people. We keep making bad decisions. And for the few that don't make those decisions, you're finding someone who still needs to be dealt with, one, not just as a potential HIV positive person, but as a human being, as a person that needs to be talked to. I'm a hardcore advocate for therapy, and not just because social work experience, but it's something that we don't do. We don't talk about things. It's so much more than this education piece, because we're doing that. We're doing a lot of it. But are you just educating me, or are you dealing with the fact that my mother's in jail and I don't know who my father are? There's these different issues that we, in the Black community, everything's secret. A lot of churches don't want to deal with the narrative of the Black church and how that shapes our mentalities, it shapes our thoughts, it shapes a lot of who we are, myself included, being a PK. It really, I went through many struggles just, I mean, definitely before college, about my sexuality and my religion. And I fought with the idea of how can I please God but love another man? So really trying to get or I'll give you a different answer. Focusing on a personal relationship, and my dad would always say getting past his presence, or his presence, like the gifts, getting into his presence, the spirituality of God, and really trying to get your own understanding.
But the lesbianism here is so segregated that I just pulled myself up out of it. So I didn't really participate. You know, in the 80s I had fun at the Catch. It was Thursday night was the bomb. You pulled your outfits together, the girls were chilling, we partied, we danced, and then all of a sudden hip hop came. It wasn't about being gay, it was about being cool and you talking to my girl, and you know, it just got crazy. So I decided I had to leave up out of it.
As far as the HIV in the transgender community, I feel that, as I said before, there's a lack of support within the community. Therefore, a lot of trans men and women don't seek help. They feel that they have nowhere to go to. I've been in transition now for about 6 years on hormones, no surgeries. I've sought help since day one. I've gotten no results. I've gone to the Gay and Lesbian Center where they have the directors for trans community, and they've given me no help for jobs, no help for anything. There's a lack of funding for this part of the community, and therefore it leads to a lack of support. So a lot of girls, they're out having unprotected sex, they're escorting for money because they can't get hired, they're seeking help but no one is helping them, they have no family. I haven't spoken to, I'm a PK as well, a preacher's child as well. I have not spoken to my family on that side for 7 years. And if I cry, please forgive me, I'm such a baby.
It's all right. Let it out.
As people, you know, we're all people. We all want the same thing. We all want to be loved and we want to enjoy life. We get one life to live and that's all we want. So it hurts me when I know that people like myself are being infected with AIDS because they have no support. So the way that we could help them is to show our support, get more funding to show that we care and that we're here to understand them so that they feel they have somewhere to go to. So, hope that answers your question.
This is something I'm really passionate about because I've had an experience in a relationship before the one that I'm in now with a woman who did not tell me she was HIV. And I didn't find out until she passed away. And then my phone blew up with people asking me because they thought I knew, but she never told me. So I didn't know, where this came from with her. I'm like, well, she's a lesbian. Everybody knew her as a lesbian. I was introduced to her at a party full of lesbians. What's happening? So Ron, who I've known since '81, my best friend, I talk to him all the time about why aren't women at straight clubs? Why can't you guys sit up a table? You don't have to be the homophobic and the gay and all of this. But I think that straight women are really becoming exposed to HIV faster and quicker than we know. Because this woman, she lived 2 separate lives that no one ever knew until she, she died and people knew about it. So here I am sitting in Ron's van being tested for HIV. It was really weird for me because I haven't been with a man since way back, high school. So I'm thinking, what is this about? And I think it's a need in the female community, not so much the lesbian community, in the female community. I think lesbians, we get a pass, a lot of us, based on how we look. We get a pass. So if we look a certain way, oh, she's not gay. But if we come in here strapped down and all of this, then, oh, yeah, she gay, So we get passes a lot. So my girlfriend can walk into a straight club and pull a whole bunch of men. They would never say she was gay. But she gay. She been gay. She been with me 10 years. Educate them from the babies on up. I have a 3-year-old nephew that if my wife comes home from work and I'm in the kitchen, he's going to greet her and take her to me to give me a kiss. And he's 3. So all he's noticing is love. So when you start them young, then by the time they get older, then they're not going through all of this. The next thing is, I would say, at my work. These are people that I'm directly in contact with. How you carry yourself is important. And I was raised that way. How you treat people, important. Because when you have something to say, they'll listen. And you may help somebody change their mind. The next thing is my community. I live in a community that's basically a white community. But I like to say that we're in the community. We're not lesbians in the community. We're in the community.
Walking what you feel or what you believe in and just being present. A lot of times it's just showing up. If there's and I would say, because there may be parents in here, but like if there's something going on in a child's school, not just a play or whatever, but actually the board meetings, actually knowing the process or how things work. Like really, really being like this presence at like council meetings or whatever. Like if the only thing you have to say is that black people need to be tested every time you go, then go and do that. Like, I mean, it's really just being there, being consistent, and also understanding your voice. And then your conversation made me automatically think of Hailie and just like the conversation of privilege. And we're really, really quick to talk about white male privilege, but we don't get into cisgender privilege. I identify as the gender that I was assigned, and so I can walk in as a male and I present as a male, and people aren't going to think any different whether I'm gay or I'm straight. And like when you say butch or when you say very masculine women, or more so for the transgender community, there's this whole narrative that we haven't even discussed that if I walk in for health care, or if someone who's transgender identified walks in for health care, I'm automatically worried if you're going to know how to treat me, if you're going to be surprised, if I'm pre or post, or depending on, I may be in the beginning of my transition, or I may choose to identify just like this, but my preferred gender pronouns are she, her, hers. Or I may have gender neutral pronouns like they, them, theirs. It's that cisgender privilege, or just privilege in general, that we don't acknowledge as a people. And that's also a conversation that I've never heard many black people who don't work in the field say cisgender or identify that you just have a privilege being a community.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for allowing me to be here. In the meantime, thank you for selecting me to be a voice, and thank you for listening and asking questions and sharing. I want to take it back to love, because I feel that love is the strongest force in mankind, period. I think that what I want everyone to take away from here is that we're all human. We're all on a journey to finding ourselves, to finding love, and crossing to the next place, wherever that may be. And just taking away that we need to love each other and love ourselves more. and understand that though we're different, we're all alike, and we all want the same thing, which is love. So love each other, love yourself, and thank you for this opportunity.
But what I could leave with people that I know personally, that people are watching you. The children are watching you. How you carry yourself, how you talk, what you say, what you have done in this life should never be a secret to a child. I've learned that. Should never be a secret to a child. I love a woman.
So I just want to give quick recognition to the members of the Black LGBT Network so that we can be familiar with the representatives from our community. So Jeffrey King from In the Meantime. We have Gabriel Maldonado. Lee Jackson. Lee, are you in the room? Brother Lee? He's the co-founder of the 50 Plus group for focusing on Black gay men 50 years of age and above. Ifalade Tashia Asante, my sister, she's co-founder of Sky, Earth, Fire Organization and the Goddess Rising Gathering, a focus on lesbian women of color, author, poet, recording artist, columnist, community activist, and my auntie. So give her a round of applause. I have to give her a round. Everybody knows Mr. Marco Green, community organizer, promoter, gatherer of people extraordinaire. My brother, Darren Harris, over here, political consultant and strategist, and he's also co-founder of the Los Angeles Young Black Democratic Club. Give him a round of applause here. Reverend Kurt D. Thomas, over here, for those from the renowned Church of Los Angeles. Pastor Thomas, please raise your hand. My grandmother, Miss Jewel Ty Williams.
Yay!
You guys met my brother earlier, Mr. Kai Green, and he is running the Transformation Group for trans and queer people of color. He's a poet, performer, musician, filmmaker, complete queer theorist, brilliant, genius, always correcting me on my cultural competency. And so we formulated this council, the Black LGBT Network, and we are going to be supporting Black LGBT initiatives that were previously listed here, as well as promoting very specific programs surrounding health and wellness, policy advocacy, social networking, and community building. Now, to address the topic that came up earlier on economic justice and economic empowerment, I'm also a representative of the Boy Revolution Project, which is here stationed within the meantime. And Boy Revolution targets young Black gay men between the ages of 18 and 29 years old. And as part of this initiative, there is a large economic justice piece that looks at financial literacy, basics on checking and savings, credits and debts, loans, financing, investment, cover letter writing, personal statement drafting, public skills, public speaking skills, interview training skills. And this is going to be a program that's going to be done over the course of the year in conjunction with our social networking events and our HIV awareness components and the health and wellness pieces. So that is addressing the economic justice portion that is very much lacking, as I agree with earlier, in the Black LGBT community. So we're here.